Good morning. I'm super excited to hike with you today. We are going to go down one of the most beautiful trails in the world, one of my absolute favorites. And we're going to go to the second tallest attraction in all of America. Well, at least the East Coast of North America. Yes, we're taking the Black Mountain Crest Trail to Mount Craig. Now, there are a lot of paths to get to Mount Craig. Probably the easiest thing to do. We're not too far away from Greensboro or Charlotte, probably like 3 hours to both. But put in your GPS, like Mount Mitchell State Park, and it will take you to the Mount Craig parking lot. And there's an observation tower right up there. It's really, really special. But it's the Black Mountain Crest Trail or the Deep Gap Trail. But either way, you'll get to Mount Craig. So it says here, about 1 mile, 45 minutes. We're going to go to Mount Craig and then go over to Big Tom and take a look at that. So here we go. You can see there's a lovely picnic area. If you want to come to Mount Craig and kind of see it from a distance, you can. You can't really see much. You can see just about all of Yancey County, but Mount Craig's right over there. We're going to give you a much better view. So the first part of the Mount Craig Trail is beautiful. It's like walking through Narnia. You've got this great evergreen forest. There's moss and ferns everywhere. In the summertime, there's mushrooms everywhere up here. But the cold air has already sent them back underground. Look at this. Welcome to Narnia. Okay, I'm just a few minutes into that hike. You can see the sun is coming up. We've got a nice cloud layer, and look, we've got the great reveal of Mount Craig. Isn't that just majestic? And then you have all of Yancey County. I guess that's fun to look at too. You can see the scars, the landslides in there, huge one over there from Hurricane Helene. Okay, we got a couple of updates on this trail. This tree was kind of a celebrity. A lot of folks would come take their photo because it kind of looked like a mermaid kind of in here. So thank you, tree, for your service. Letting all those folks take those photos. Still look good. So that one took one for the team. You see a bunch of other trees down, but those are from previous storms. All in all, it looks great up here. Not a lot of damage up here from Hurricane Helene. There's a lot of damage, you know, much further south, like towards the Folk Arts Center, you know, further down the parkway. But really, this stuff was here before. I think, yeah. The wind came from a different direction from Helene. So it's still lovely up here. It's October 2nd, I think. Parkway and subsequently this park just opened up last week. So it's a great time to get up here. It's Friday morning. I got this place all to myself. We lost a tree, but looks like we gained some cables. I don't remember this being here, which doesn't mean it wasn't. But as you can see, you know, you will do some, I think this qualifies as hard technically because you're doing big steps and you have to do a little bit of scrambling here and there. But here's just a little visual of some of the stuff that you have to do. No strollers on this trail. Man, it just keeps getting better and better on this trail. Got a little fun section right here. So on the Mount Crest Trail, you'll find lots of things like this. Crags. So a crag is kind of like a boulder, you kind of climb on. And they're all over the place, just right down the Blue Ridge Parkway. In fact, are the Craggy Mountains. I got a video on that. It's fantastic. So you got boulders, whatever you want to call them. But here we are, hiking up some crags. Okay, you guys ready for this? Okay. We're getting closer to the top. Be delicate when you get near the top of the Mount Crest experience. It's sensitive. So yeah, where were we? On a crag here in the Appalachian Mountains. Did you know that at one point the Appalachian Mountains were connected to the Scottish Highlands? And then we had, you know, millions of years of plate tectonics and things like that. But it's basically the exact same land, right? You know, different flowers, things like that. So this might be the first time you're going to hear this. Welcome to the Scottish Highlands. Speaking of Scottish Highlands, there's a name that comes from these parts. Specifically, these parts where there's a crag in the mountains. And it's pronounced a little bit differently. Craig. So the Craig family, known for law, back in the old country, back in the Highlands, you know, immigrated to the good old US of A. Hundreds of years ago, set up shop. So here we are in basically old Scottish Highlands. On Mount Craig. And my name's Craig. I love this trail and this forest so much. I mean, there's just things growing on top of things, growing on top of things. We've got these great scrambles. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you can basically come out here with a bottle of water and your inner child and have all the fun you want. Just look at all this stuff. This is a dead tree trunk, right, that uprooted. It's just got stuff growing everywhere. Got the blackberry bushes. You got these funky things here. You got cedars. It's all sorts of just beautiful stuff here that's quite unique to this area. You saw that sign close to the top of Mount Craig saying there's rare plant life. There's lots of rare things up here. And, you know, you might get to Mount Craig and be like, okay, I've done it. I've reached the top of the experience, but we strongly recommend that you keep going. Another, 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes to the next peak, which is Big Tom. Because Big Tom is a big friend in the way that he presents Mount Craig. So here we are, 6,580 feet. Named for Big Tom Wilson, famous guide and bear hunter of the Black Mountains. Found the body of Dr. Alicia Mitchell. Like, that's what he's famous for? Okay. No judgment here. Thank you, Big Tom, for being here and representing Mount Craig. From here, it looks bigger than Mount Mitchell. Good job, Big Tom. Thank you for being a friend. If you're as fascinated with I am with these old mountains, then you'll find this interesting. You should be able to see the scars, from the landslides from Hurricane Helene. People talk about it being, a weather event, but it was actually a geological event here in the Appalachians due to all the water and all the landslides. I'll put a link in the description from geologist Philip Prince. He does a great overview of just how unprecedented this was, or at least unprecedented in our lifetimes. But I've got my telescope here, and you can see the scars over there. What this camera probably doesn't pick up is that, at the bottom of that one there, that, that has to be almost 1,000 feet alone right there. Well, it just keeps going. I see there's landslides actually all over there. You can just see the big one, but it hits the bottom and it kind of keeps going. All of those valleys where all those creek stories, they're completely just gutted. Like God just took a finger and went down each of those crevices and just kind of carved everything out. And it went all the way down. I believe this goes into Burnsville over there, and eventually up to the Cane River. And it's just really, really devastating over there. And everybody's coming back, but the disaster is still very much happening and is very much alive and impacting humanity in Yancey County, really all over western North Carolina. But that's interesting there. So lots of good things to see from Mount Craig. Lots of interesting things to see if you're into that sort of thing. Now, if you're on the Mount Craig Trail, Black Mountain Crest Trail, Deep Gap Trail, whatever, you can keep going past Mount Tom. Let me show you what's over here. That's like Balsam Cone. Then there's like Cattail Peak. There's a few over there. There's no real view of Mount Craig, from those. You really can't see much. So, you can keep walking. I've been over there, and as I understand it, the trails right now especially are pristine. There's been some very nice trail crews out there cleaning them out. and I'm told they did a really good job. All right, all right. Let's give you guys the full setup here. I got all this stuff. All right, that's enough of that. So you can keep going for miles and miles and miles if you like, or just come here to Mount Tom, get your view of Mount Craig and the Mount Craig parking lot over there on Mount Mitchell. And hopefully you'll have a nice day and have a good view just like today. I just got off the trail to pee. Oh shit, it's a plane wreck. Oh, I've heard about this. Look at that. I'm gonna give it a 0 out of 10 on the landing. Look at this. Rest in peace. I love aviation. I love mountains. I love moss. I love ferns. This place has everything. Look at that. Look, Mom, I'm a pilot. Look at this. I'm so happy. This is my third time on this trail, but it's the first time I've used the restroom at the Mount Mitchell Airport. So it's just full of surprises, you know, which reminds me, you really kind of, I strongly recommend, if you find a good trail, keep going back to it. You get to see more and more of it. I gotta confess, I've never seen a surprise airport like that. Look at this. Things just grow where they can on all sorts of different things. I love how the trees, just like, yeah, we'll set up camp right here on this rock. Yeah, this will do just fine. So tons of fun. Unfortunately, I cannot get some of my most favorite moments on the trail on camera because I try not to record other people. But my body's filled with bliss right now, just running into a couple of people and just having a special, like, 30 seconds to 5 minutes of just like seeing each other, you know, out here on the trail when it's super early, you're deep in it. I like how you kind of see the inner child, the sparkle in their eye. You don't see their politics, you know, or who they voted for, what kind of American they are, you know. It's just people out here getting in contact with Mom, who's responsible for everything. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all the other watching and everybody that you pass on these trails. I see you. I love you. And I love doing this with you. And I love going away. We can't see Mount Craig yet. But we will. But thank you for everybody that takes steps to, you know, change the channel and get outside. It's It's really easy for someone privileged like myself to do frequently. But you don't have to do it frequently, just to step outside, get away, go to a park, walk the dog, whatever. You may not have Mount Craig in your view, but you still have green grass if you look at it the right way. I saw these guys on the way in. Look, it's the only ones I could find. There's this one. There's this little guy right here. Not a bad view. You're the last one. Om Namah Shivaya, my brother. Good luck. Really a great place to set up shop. Last mushroom of the year, I think, on the Black Mountain Crest Trail. Two hours, 2 miles, and 600 vertical feet later, and I'm back at the trailhead. You could probably get out there and back in an hour, if you really wanted to, but I took my time. It's nice to come back here, my third time on the Deep Gap trailhead up to Mount Craig. So thank you so much for joining me. This is a great place to start your day. And then as you head back towards Asheville, you can stop by the Craggies. If you didn't get enough crag on, well, we got plenty more of that. So thanks for joining me. Have a good day.